I will open this planning and zoning meeting here on Wednesday, January 14th at 7 a.m. Could I have someone, or is there any questions at all about the planning and zoning meeting minutes from last time, December 8th? If not, can I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Crockett, second by Vaughn, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna save Valerie for later on. It doesn't look like True Golf is here.
No, they turned in an application,
Okay.
We have all their information. He's looking for a liquor license for the golf simulator business he has out there. I believe when he came in before, he's talked to the board about that. He would prefer that it has gaming allowed with it. Again, we talked to Joe Kankar, and we can't issue liquor licenses that restrict gaming. He said he would take it either way. Right now, he doesn't have any immediate plans for gaming, but would like to bring in some machines at some point. So he's asking the board for the liquor license and to allow gaming.
Go ahead.
Joe said that we can issue liquor licenses restricting gaming?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I feel like that's been kind of our, at least mode right now, is that we're not looking to add any more gaming this time.
Right.
Again, I know it's a new business, but.
Yeah, and he's fine either way. I talked to him on the phone about it, and he said that's fine either way. He still would take the liquor license even if it restricts the gaming for now.
Again, how many gaming businesses do we have right now?
I think we have 11 in town and about 75 machines.
I've been in favor of allowing the liquor license without the gaming, just, so this way, make sure it's a viable business first. If they're only opening it for the gaming, do we really want that?
Correct. I think that's something we talked about last year, but that's, I mean, I agree. Let's give them I'm fine with the liquor license too. I think, maybe we can revisit at one point, but at this point, I don't feel like we need any more gaming in this town. We already have.
I don't think we want every establishment to have gaming.
Correct.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And right now, what is the average amount of money that's spent on in our machines per month?
I think it varies somewhere between $3 and $5 million a month.
That's a lot of money.
I've been in towns where, you know, every single building has a neon sign, gaming, it just looks.
Yeah, that's
If you
not what we
that,
want.
go to Vegas, right? I mean,
We don't want Las Vegas here.
But does
Yeah.
anyone have any issues with issuing them the liquor license?
I will just say, I know at some point in time, they'll be here begging for a gaming license because they can't survive without it.
Well, then to me, that's not a viable business, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think in this case, at least from what he's told me, his simulator business is going well, but, you know, he's got to go through a summer too, which
Correct.
obviously, I would assume his business will drop off in the summer somewhat.
I've been there a couple times. It's a good business.
Yeah, I've gone over there a
My golf
few
team
times.
goes there a bunch, so like I know it's set up very well. So I think they will do well. But
There's a Monday Night Ladies League that's using it right now too.
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm good. I think we're good with then. I
And if-
don't know if we put it on the agenda or.
year, 2 years down the road, whatever, they want a gaming license and they've proven that they're gonna be around, it's not just success, then
We can think about
have
it. Yeah,
another
correct.
discussion, but.
All right. Ace and Vine liquor license. I think they're here. If you guys want to come up, you can talk to us at all, and then.
Good morning.
I'm Tahoe, it's my partner, Afreem. Could you say your name louder? Tahoe and Afreem. Okay.
So we are here requesting a liquor license for our wine bar business. We plan to have some food with it too. It's going to be on 380 North Locust Street by Mayberry's. We got 12 different locations in Will County, New Lenox, Frankfurt, and Mokina. And we're hoping to have one here in Montana.
Where are you at in Frankfurt and Mokina?
Mokina, it's on Wolf Road and Route 30. We're just building up right now. On across from JCPenney, right there. Across from Beanie's.
Okay.
In the Frankfurt, it's on Harlem and Volmer Road.
Of all your businesses, does everyone have gaming?
Yes.
But you think you can make it here with liquor license?
or would you not want it if you can't have gaming?
Gaming helps pay bills, you know?
And
So-
we've had a pretty strong stance of we're not
Yes.
adding any more gaming at this time. Right now, we want businesses to be viable without the gaming aspect. And then, like we just said, after maybe a couple years, then you can come back and ask us, but I feel like this board at this time does not want to add gaming. So if you're okay with just a liquor license with a wine bar, that's, I think, something that we would definitely be open with.
How about if we give him a 6-month, see how his business is going?
That's what I'm
Six-
saying, correct, yeah.
6 to a year.
Yeah,
See
again, you
how
can
your
reevaluate
business
after a
is
year,
going,
but,
And then we'll think about, adding the gaming to it, or,
Well, the problem there is the rent is very high at this location, you know, so it will make sense to have everything at the same time. Or,
I think the rent is high everywhere.
yes, that's true, yes. No,
The problem is I think that location, we've had told 2 or 3 other people too that, no to having a gaming license too. So be fair, how do we tell Topgolf, who's already here, that you could have a liquor license but no gaming, but bring in someone else who isn't here? I'd
did
be
they
fine with,
approach us before, the golf place? Didn't they
I don't know, are
come
they
to
the
the board
same, I don't know,
before
are they the same
that was
people
put
or are
into
they
place?
not?
I don't know,
if
just a
it's.
question.
yes, we came here, maybe 3-4 months ago, but felt that we were not represented right from the person we sent here, and that's why we requested at that time to have a table, you know?
The reason
I'd
we're
like to see
concerned
another
about
business
giving
in
out,
town. I'd like to see a
the reason
building
we're
fixed.
concerned about giving out so many licenses for gaming or allowing it is because we're still a small town. We have about around 9,300 people. And we're already taking in $3 to $5 million a month. I mean, that does affect families, the amount of money that goes into gaming. Sometimes people aren't able to pay their bills because of their addictions. Not that we're in charge of people, we're not the moral police here, but Manteno does have 75 machines, and we feel that's pretty adequate for the amount of people that live here. Am I wrong?
I'm 100% in favor of
Correct.
giving a liquor license without gaming, but
If we gave a gaming license to everybody who wants it, that whole town would be like Reno.
Yes,
We know that. Because it does make money.
But if your business is good, if your food is good as
Yes.
well as it looks on this paper,
yes,
to me, is the building gonna look like this
Yes.
on the inside? So
Yes.
it's gonna mirror this,
yes, exactly like that.
okay?
Our
So, I
last
mean, if
5
you're-
places, it's been just like that.
If your business is managed right and the food is great and
Yeah.
stuff, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't survive
Yeah.
in Manteno,
To my
with
knowledge,
the
you're gonna
liquor
be
license.
you're gonna be the first wine buyer in Manteno.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you'll do good here. And then we can go down the road with the gaming.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, our gaming, it'll be a whole separate room, separated and everything,
I mean, that's a lot of places that do that. That's not,
That's
our
the
issue isn't like that, it's not.
Yes.
It's not covered up. It's, I think our issue is just, again, we don't wanna have that many
Yes.
places that have it. And we've kind of restricted it. So again, we are open to definitely with the liquor license and having you guys open a restaurant, again, you'd be like a unique place in Manteno. We are not going to give the gaming license right now without you proving, again, a year, at least 6 months a year, that you can do this without gaming to a point. Because again, if we do it to you, we will have 15 people calling Chris tomorrow saying, add us to the list.
liquor store will be.
That have been, correct, yes. They'll be back, yeah, liquor store, we've denied liquor stores already this past year.
The
Other
bistro.
places too, yeah.
Yeah.
Bistro, so.
And they're thriving.
Correct.
I mean, they seem to be doing okay. I think with what I'm seeing right here, in the look of this, I think it's something that Manteno could use. And I think, I've had restaurants and I know it's a tough business.
Yes.
But I think, this would go over really hot here.
Can we talk with our landlord again on terms of the rent and come back to a different date about this, if we can work something out?
You sure can,
Perfect, that'll be best.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for all this nice information. It looks beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're gonna talk about temporary signs, but I'll let Valerie Wacker, if you wanna come up from Liquid Books first, and then we'll get into it.
So I am Adam Wacker's mom. You know, he has Liquid Books over by Mayberry's. And he's been dreaming of this business for a long time. And we're just hoping that you lift the ordinance of the temporary signs, because for small businesses, especially newer businesses, every avenue of advertising is essential to bring customers in, to make the business grow, make it successful. So being able to post signs of what we do, what we have, the services we offer, and also sales, for people to see it from the, at the street, can come in and bring us more business and more customer footwear. And so we're really hoping that, you lift the ordinance and let us have a sign out there when we need it. And we really appreciate your time. So thank you.
So you're talking about a temporary sign that will sit
We'll
by the
sit, yeah, like.
by the edge of the
like-
parking lot?
Like by the corner of the lot, like that. So just, sale going on today,
And
we offer
currently, what
these
is it?
services.
Currently, what is it our ordinance says,
So the
Chris?
current ordinance allows for temporary signage, one temporary sign per business for 30 days at a time. Then they have to take it down, and they can't have anything for 30 days. So essentially, 30 days on, 30 days off.
Right, which really, because when we came, we had a sign, and that really helped. Once it was gone, business dropped, big time. So, we try every other avenue, and, and we are getting a little more footwear, just from other avenues of, the Chamber of Commerce and stuff like that. But, it truly, truly helps to have those extra signs out there.
Did you go and apply for a 30-day, after 30 days of the sign being down, did you get put up another temporary sign?
We-
Every month?
We have not yet put up another one. We had snow and stuff, so we did not,
Because that sign, if you put up a sign out in the yard, out in the corner there, and it never comes down,
but-
there's no change, it doesn't draw anyone's
Yeah.
attention, it becomes just a normal thing that you
Right,
drive
right, but
by.
we're not going to do that. We're gonna change it like one corner over there, or another corner over there, change what the sign says all the time, stuff like that, to put it out there for sales.
Something else that we have to think about.
You just have to rotate it every 30 days.
Well, you
30
can't,
days on, 30 days off.
Right.
You're asking for a permanent sign,
Well, no, we're asking to be able to
a
put
permanent
out,
sign that you move.
that we move around different spots so people can, catch it, different people, different places.
How many businesses are in that facility there?
Do we have one of those, the green that we put stuff on to advertise different things for us in town? Do we have anything like that over there? So,
Are wayfinder signs?
yeah, whatever. Is there anything that would look nice like that, for all the businesses that are on that section in that little area? Is there anything we could do like that to make it look, to match whatever, that we have in the village?
I'm not sure that I follow what you're at.
Well, there
We've
is a
got the
big
way-
sign
we've got
out there by the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that what they're called, wayfind?
Wayfind.
sign?
Wayfinders are all over, like, there's
wayfinder
signs
signs are
everywhere,
Right.
and they'll
Is
say,
there anything like
McDonald's
that?
this way, but they pay for
You
that.
get what
They
I'm
rent
saying?
it from the
Yeah.
chamber.
That, though, I don't know is as visible. I don't think that would be as visible if I'm driving by. I'm not gonna be able to kind of, well, I guess, no, I can't see a wayfinder sign.
Well, yeah, you can see them all over
They're-
town.
they're
but I mean,
actually-
would it be something
they're
feasible?
directional to get people to businesses.
Yeah.
Like if you come off of
Correct.
the expressway,
But you
you
can't
see the
put a
sign in the
sale-
arrows.
But, right,
Correct, correct.
they can't see what you do, they don't.
Yes, correct. I was
know.
just gonna say the name of the business, not gonna tell you, like, you want that
Right.
stuff.
Right, but.
Is there any way, like,
I mean, so
I get the concern of, we don't want just the same temp sign all the time, and you said you're gonna move them. Is there any way or language we could look at of like, every 30 days you have to put a new sign out, or at least it's rotating?
But think about what that looks like, CJ. And I don't know the exact number, but that strip mall, is there 4 or 5 different businesses?
There's four.
Four.
There's the
So
thrift,
now, all 4 of them are gonna have signs, right? And then you're gonna get them over at O'Reilly's across the street, and you're gonna get it at Casey's, and.
And
'cause
that's why
once
we created
that sign ordinance, honestly, to prevent things like, you know, mattresses for $3.99 lined up with yard signs at our exit ramps, because that'll happen.
And the gas stations had tons of temporary signs that they had all over the pumps and out in front of the business, and that's why we created this temporary sign ordinance.
This,
to
this
prevent
ordinance
that.
though does keep it to the, only on their property, right? They can't like go put it up all throughout Mantino.
Correct.
Okay,
Right, which is
But
all we
honestly,
want.
if you think
Yeah.
about like over by Mayberry, their property would actually stop at the parking lot, right? Because the grass out there by the sidewalk is right away, so you couldn't put something out there.
have you talked to Mayberry at all, like adding underneath them like a sign, like, you know what I mean? Like the Mayberry sign, obviously you can see it when you're driving by, like something like bigger that way. with
Well,
it.
speaking of Mayberries, they want to add a sign themselves that is for daily specials. And I just actually informed them that they would be hindered to this same temporary sign thing where they would have to be restricted to this. They would have to take that sign down every 30 days as well. It would screw them as well.
I don't think we want our Route 50 corridor to be filled with 35 signs all the time. But you do have a tall sign out there by the edge of the road where you do have liquid books up there.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we could change out that sign periodically to
yeah.
grab attention.
Well, we have signs that we are looking to change out. We just haven't, with the weather, haven't been able to change those out. Boy, it's being so far back, like I said before, people still won't be able to see what we offer, and the whole 30 days on, 30 days off is still kind of like a hindrance. And it just does not make any viable sense. And the first 60 days to 6 months of a small business is crucial. And that's the biggest thing that needs to happen. Like,
You almost need like a sign like Monocle's has, where you can put letters, I mean, some signs have that or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a temporary sign.
Don't want to spend the money on an LED sign that you could change it easily. Then
Well, that's
they've
what I'm
got-
saying,
then
like
they've got
that,
the signs
like-
that you
You
put
talking
out
about like
that
right,
have a-
Route 50?
Correct,
Channels
where
up there that you
LED
can
or
put
like
stuff
get
in.
McDonald's or Monocle's, they can put like letters in and stuff. Like, I don't know how much that costs, but then that's not a temporary sign, you can change
that's
that.
that's $1,000, and that's per your guys' thing, also a temporary sign.
My experience with business, signs don't make or break you. I mean, it just,
They help. They help.
they help. They're a necessary evil, but they're not gonna
They,
make your business be viable or not viable. I mean,
They help. Every
They-
little bit helps.
They-
do help,
they help
and eye
bring
levels
people
help,
in.
and
I'm still thinking that the big sign that's out there is the most visible one, and it advertises more than just your shop. There's, I think, 6 or 8 slots there, right?
yeah,
The big sign out by the road.
right,
I was
right.
gonna say, I'll be honest, I drive that frequently. I don't think I've ever seen any other sign than the Mayberry sign. So I don't know if you've already had temp signs out there.
Well,
I mean, I'm saying I miss them.
That was in the, beginning.
Correct, but I'm saying I miss them, and I drive that road daily. I've never even seen that temp sign. Like, I see the big one, but I don't see like on the ground. So I
Yeah.
don't know how many eyeballs are even seeing those temp signs anyway on the ground.
yeah,
Did-
we've only had 30 days of the temp sign because, well, we've only ran it in, I think, October. November was our off day. December would have been our month to redo the submission,
But the
but that
weather
was
bad.
weather,
Yeah.
snow, cold, so it was like risk either damaging the sign, so on and so forth. It wasn't worth it to us.
Didn't we also talk about a banner, like maybe across the front of the building?
Oh, and we do have a banner, but again, we're kind of far back from the street, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think some people might notice the banner, but not as much as something close to the
Yeah,
street.
on the
but-
ground, like,
but-
what I was saying to the mayor before, on each end of the parking lot, catching one eye of the parking lot and then seeing the other end, you would catch more visibility than just having one sign out there. and being car level, that's better than being, what, 12 feet up in the air?
But that 12 feet up in the air really gets a lot of visual effect from far away. People see that when
wonder
they're
if
driving
almost,
down the highway.
and I don't know the price of it, so that's but putting another sign, like you're saying, like instead of a temp sign, putting a more permanent sign also on that side to promote, like, 'cause I really only see Mayberries, and your guys are on there, but it's smaller, almost for like you and the other new businesses on the other side, having that thing there too. That way it's, I don't know. I get what you're saying, cause you wanna like promote the sales and stuff like that, but we aren't currently allowing though any other restaurant or business in town to do that, and they seem to be doing okay for what we see, so it's hard to then, they have never asked for it, I should say. And I know you're new, but we've had new businesses come in and they still haven't asked for that with it. I think again, you just keep up with your promotion, word of mouth. You guys have came here, that's getting out. The chamber's now pushing stuff out. We can push stuff out from like, again, promoting businesses, but I don't know if like a temp sign is something that we're that open to other than just how we have it now. Because we don't want what we've had in the past, it sounds like, of a lot of signs. And actually, now that you said that, Todd, I remember now gas stations having a crazy amount of signs, and that looked kind of bad. But again, that was a gas station, not obviously your business. But what's
Chris,
that?
do you have something to add to this? And, you know, the existing sign that they think is up pretty high, can they add to that?
Yeah, so this actually came about, and I think we did it back in 2016, and the reason was, it was actually that very building. On the south end of that building is a very large section with no windows or doors in it. And the renter in that space started putting up banners, and they absolutely filled that entire section of the building with banners. And it was an auto parts type, a custom parts type business. And that's when several of the board members said that really looks tacky. And some of them, after a while, started getting tattered and blowing around, and so then they started looking at it, and Taylor Ford had one of those arrow boards that a lot of the businesses used to use. It was in horrible shape. I mean, we just started really looking around and saying a lot of these signs really look bad. So that's when they came up with the idea of 30 days on, 30 days off. They still let them have the temporary signs, but you just can't have them all the time. And then that way too, it keeps them a little fresher and keeps them from really looking kind of tacky. So that's the history of it.
So every 30 days when they come and ask for a permit, is there a fee for that?
No, it's free. They just have to fill out the form. We give them the dates that they can start it, the dates that it stops, and then the date they can come and apply again for another one. They just have to turn in that permit every time.
Would the board be interested in shortening that space between, instead of making them wait a month? Shorten it to 1 or 2 weeks?
I wouldn't be interested in that.
Or would we be open to like letting them have the sign for 2 months? Like, are we worried about damage in 2? You know, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, winter time, you're probably not gonna have a temp sign anyway because the weather's gonna ruin it anyway. So it's more like you need it during spring and summer and fall to kind of do that. That way, it's a little bit less time off than for you. Was that? 'Cause I don't want to hurt your business, but also again, we just don't want to start a trend of signs that look horrible around town. It's not gonna make us look as good as we could overall.
Jacob, what are some of the other successful businesses in Manteno doing that don't rely on temporary signs?
I mean, I know social media is huge, and you guys are on there and doing a great job. A chamber perk, I know it's kind of off topic from a village meeting, but you guys can put in an LED sign request for the chamber. So we've got our sign next to McDonald's, so during those off months when you guys aren't able to have a temporary sign next to your location, you can maybe utilize that resource. And those signs, or those advertisements, I should say, stay up for 2 weeks at a time, and you have 1 submission per month for the chamber. So you can definitely take advantage of that, I think, especially during the off months of not having the temporary sign in front of your business.
So there's other options besides a temporary sign.
Yeah.
Good.
So I would just have to basically do kind of like a logo with an address, and but that still is what on the other side of town. They would have to figure out where we are in town compared to where the McDonald's is.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think you guys have done a great job branding yourself, I think, visually and on social media, so I don't really think that'd be a problem. But you can talk with Kathleen and I more about this topic specifically, and we can work with you on some creative marketing ways for that, for our LED sign.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Does that help a little bit?
Would help a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
So, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then finally, fourth quarter recaps.
Okay, yep, in your packet, got the fourth quarter from last year, commercial development recap. Kerwick's building at Section Line Road, still no tenant information on that. I see they've been in there working again, so I'm not sure if something's changed, but I've not heard of him leasing it out yet at this point. Domino's Pizza is operational. The other side, still don't have any information on a tenant yet, and I see they're not in there working, so. 63 North Main, the former Copeland's, have not heard anything on that. From even the gentleman we met with, we've not heard back from him, so I don't have anything on that. Carlisle's building at 5 South Main, you see the construction is still going on there. He's remodeling the second floor to expand his offices up to that second floor. And Riverside
Chris, I'm
parking
sorry,
lot.
quick question. I know he was renting that space above him, so is that that's all gonna be Carlisle office space?
That'll all
then?
be commercial now, yep, yeah, no more apartments up there, yep. And then Riverside parking lot, obviously the weather has kind of stopped that, but they've got the majority of the work done. They still, I think, have to do the drainage pond area that's on the property, but that likely won't happen until spring.
When it comes to these businesses, so like the one next to Domino's, like it really is, if they're looking for a restaurant, like it's limited to what could go there. How much can, to a point, I should say limited, but like, since like, it's almost like there's like a drive-through option, I should say.
Yeah, obviously, they're gonna be specific on who they rent to.
Correct.
It
How
enhances
much-
their business.
How much can we do as a board to like reach out? Like I've like a couple months ago reached out to just a couple like bigger chain restaurants and I haven't heard back, but I'm just, I'm just trying to reach, like trying to bring, 'cause I feel like again, one thing I feel like we're missing is like maybe a major chain restaurant or something that a sit down kind of place. Like how much could we do as a board to reach out to those businesses too, to maybe help? Like, I'm not trying to help just that guy renting, but just like for the town purpose.
Well, that's why we developed the enterprise zone, like, where they don't have permit fees.
Okay.
They don't pay tax on their stuff.
One, this is a good topic to bring up and one that I wanted to discuss at some point in time. We all want to bring in additional business, and we'd all love a nice restaurant and some of the amenities that, they have up north that we don't have here. The problem is, we need more rooftops in order for that to happen. Businesses aren't gonna come here with 92 or 300 people if you're a major chain. So we need to figure out a way to get more rooftops here so that these larger developers will see that and bring these commercial businesses here. So I think the first thing we need to focus on is getting more rooftops so that these developers say,
This is a growing
look how
area, let's-
Mantino's
correct.
growing, right? I mean, it happened in Plainfield, it happened in Shorewood, it happened in Manuka, it happened in Oswego. That's how those towns grew, by rooftops first, and then the developers came. The developers aren't gonna come without the rooftop.
Correct.
So we need to figure out how, like you're saying, what can we do as a board?
To try to
get
promote
more
that even,
rooftops?
correct.
Right. I've asked Chris a couple questions regarding that. Could we look at reducing our lot size requirement so that a builder could get more homes on a particular piece of property to make it more affordable for them to develop? Right now, the problem is the cost of construction's so high.
It's crazy, yeah.
Builders aren't building, right? So we need to create, we need to create more rooftops in order to get these developments
Yeah,
that. we
it'll bring
all
itself,
want.
like it builds on itself, I get what you're saying.
Right.
I guess builders are building, they're just not building here, right?
Right.
And you and I have spoke about, if you go to northwest Indiana, in St. John, even though it's expensive, they're building all the time.
But I think
If we
that's
go to
that's a
Oswego,
product of.
if we
of
go to
their tax structure.
Other tax
too.
structure, and I'll give you that, but if you go to Oswego, you see Oswego is building up, every farm field is changing from.
Correct. My friend lives there, they're constantly adding on.
And, I guess as we talked, when we went through some of the rezoning on the property over by the school and going to more, I've been not a fan of multifamily, but restricting or bringing the smaller sizes down, we kind of talked about that as a template of what's happened. And I think some of that's because there's no jobs over there on the I-88 corridor.
But we gotta make it more advantageous to a larger, maybe national home builder, a Lennar or an MI
100%.
Homes or somebody like that, to wanna come here, and work with them. I mean, developers wanna look at a board that they know they can work with, right? And is gonna provide some concessions along the way. But we're not gonna get a, we're not gonna get a, Texas Roadhouse or a Home Depot or,
Correct.
one of those type of jewel,
That
unless
always
we
fucks up.
have
Correct.
the rooftops. They
Yep.
need customers,
Yep.
right? They don't wanna be the first one to the dance.
Correct.
So we did take a couple of steps in the last few years. One is that we waive the don't waive the permit fees, but we allow them to pay the permit fees at the end when they get their occupancy permit rather than at the beginning. So that was to try and help spec housing, jump forward a little bit. And we still have that program in process, or in place. And then we also did the enterprise zone, residential enterprise zone on numerous properties in the town to try and help developers come in. Again, no permit fees, they just pay the inspection fees, and then they don't have to pay any sales tax on building materials. But, those programs are here, it's just, again, I don't think we're on the map of any of the big builders. And I think that the project behind Casey's over there, between Casey's and the school, they did try and market that to some larger nationwide builders, and they just weren't interested in coming here. It's kind of the chicken and the egg, right? Nobody wants to be the first one in the
Right.
small town, because they look at it and say, you don't have enough to warrant spending $8 million building this project. But we can't get there without getting the $8 million project, so it's,
You think we
It's
need
a
to
tough
bring
place.
somebody in to help us with bringing things into Mantino?
Like a director of economic development,
Yeah.
that's something we could talk about.
I mean, is anyone in our area building up? Like, is Bradley building up? Bradley's getting all
Well,
these
he
things,
is.
but they're putting in the investment of like a park, and then they're hoping, almost again, they're taking the risk, and then they're hoping it's gonna grow. We don't know if it's gonna pay off or not. What's that?
I don't know that Bradley's looking to grow rooftops, right?
Correct.
They're
They,
looking
they
at-
might feel like they're at a good spot.
Yeah, I don't know that they have the real estate to
Correct.
grow.
That's true.
They're somewhat landlocked. but-
That's true.
There's
We're
some-
not. We can go east or west, really.
Well, I guess the question as a board that we first have to answer is, do we wanna be a small town or do we wanna be a bigger town?
That's exactly what I was sitting here thinking.
I mean, it's,
There's people who came here because it's a small town.
And I'm not saying I want a big town, but I
No, it's
want
gotta
business.
It's gotta be responsible, controlled growth.
Correct.
I mean, we don't wanna grow
We don't want
leaps
to
and
double.
bounds
We don't want to double
overnight.
tomorrow and then be at 18,000. I don't think.
20 years ago, we were building at a rate that was unsustainable. Schools were getting bombarded, the infrastructure wasn't there, and that's why we intentionally slowed up the building. Well, now we find ourselves 20 years later, school enrollment's down, and, if we don't have some more rooftops coming, that taxation, I mean, it's gonna go up, right? So,
What we're really looking for is controlled growth.
100%. No, I mean, that's
Bradley, isn't
transient.
it?
Correct.
Most
Yeah,
people-
correct. That's true. Yeah, more
That's-
transit
that's-
than,
And that's what I said with Bradley, like, they're looking to fill their hotels. They're looking at doing things that will maximize what they have, because they've got the big box stores, they've got the hotels. That's why they're going that direction. We don't have them. And people aren't gonna move to Mantino to be able to go to a water park.
Yeah, I don't think there's any magic bullet that we're gonna, that's out there that is gonna make this happen overnight. But we, like Chris was saying, some of the things that we put in place to hopefully try to attract.
This is kind of what I was
New-
thinking with
new
that, like,
builders,
the
new
5-year plan.
developers.
Like, what are things we could start doing yearly to try to, again, over a 10-year span, bring, I don't know, another 1,000 or 2,000 people into our town?
But us as a board have to realize that if we go to developer to want to get that growth going,
They're
that's
not gonna
good.
come and build 10
They're not,
houses.
yeah, they're gonna come, they wanna build 100 houses.
Correct.
That's just their way of doing it. They're gonna want something in return, and, nobody likes to hear, oh, you're giving a tax break, but what else do we have to offer?
Correct.
They're gonna want us to be able to negotiate breaks for them in order for them to make it viable.
How many
Correct.
new homes did we build last year, 2?
So on
And I
the next
think that's
page, actually, we
kinda
did
why
3.
Todd's saying, hey, let's talk about it a little bit now before anything, before all of a sudden we get let's say Lamar or whatever, that they come out here and say that they wanna build and then we're fighting amongst each other. We don't wanna have that vision.
Correct,
We
no,
wanna
yeah.
hash it out now, so this way, if that comes up, we are in sync, cause
So we have to be on the same page. Either we're gonna have the small hometown builders build 5, 10 houses. I mean, last year we did 3. And we'll have small controlled growth. Or if we want the Home Depot and the Texas Roadhouse, in order to get those, we're gonna have to bring in a national builder that's going to, like Joel said, want concessions from this board to be able to do that. Or we just don't have those type of businesses. We're not gonna have a Walmart, a Costco,
Correct.
a Walgreens.
And I'm not even saying that we need that, I just wanted to just add like a chain, just one chain, but I guess,
But they're
again,
not
what's.
gonna do it.
Correct.
you're
Why
not gonna
would they
get
go
one
out
if
on
you
a
don't
limb,
have
like
it.
Chris said, and invest millions of dollars to be the only?
Is there
one
any
in
way
town?
that we can promote it where, like, I go to Roadhouse, I don't live in Bradley, you know what I mean? Like, why couldn't they build one here? You don't think Bradley and Bourbonnais will come 10 minutes down the road?
Well, if you drive anywhere in the United States, down an interstate, and you look, where's the Texas Roadhouse at?
No, I know, I always
Off
say,
an
yeah.
We're not
interchange,
just saying
yeah.
Texas
developing an
Roadhouse, but
interchange.
Correct,
facilities
yeah.
too
They're
close.
not in downtown Peatone.
Correct.
They're not in downtown Mantino.
Then we got space where the Domino's was built that I feel like is right off the interstate that would be
They
attractive.
have business models that are proven track records and they won't,
Correct. Why change, yeah.
you know, CJ calling them or CJ, Peggy, Todd, Joel calling, they're not gonna change from their
Correct.
proven track record.
Correct.
And I have a feeling there's thousands of people here who are very happy they're not living in a big city with a lot of industry.
I do want to bring up one other point that I've been told from our local builder, who pretty much does most of the housing in this area, that, and I don't know that there's any way to change this, but anybody who watches our board meetings hears that this town is going to blow up, people are going to die, it's a horrible place to live, the town has been ruined by the business that came here. We put out our police statistics, and I'll be honest with you, when you hear that a small town has 800 incidents, that's shocking to a lot of people. When you hear 20 people got arrested in a month in a small town, a lot of people are not aware that we have crime here too, right? But, and I get it, it's, you know, you want to be transparent so everybody knows everything that's going in town, but somebody who doesn't live in town that hears some of this stuff goes, there's no way in hell I would move there. And that developer has been told that. As he's trying to sell houses, they're like, oh, no, we've heard what Mantino is, and there's no way we want to be
I
part
don't
of
think
that.
that's true.
Huh?
I don't think that's true.
it's
I
100%
talked to an
true.
awful lot of people, and
So do
they
I.
are happy that they know what is going on in our community.
Well, I'm not talking about
So-
people already here. If it's
Right.
attracting new people, it definitely is a role to play.
I'm just
of-
repeating what a developer has told me when
Yeah.
he's trying to sell houses. That's some of the feedback he's getting. Again, you can't change it. It's just the reality.
Chris, can you talk about this active new construction? Are these houses or what are these?
Yeah, these
buildings?
are new construction that are in process.
Are they houses?
No, well, like, so the Beard, those are the 3 units out there in Eagles Landing. East Division, that's a 5-unit apartment, townhouse building that's being built. Then the rest of them are all single family.
So there is some growth.
Real quick, going back
Yeah.
to the growth, do we want to be a small town or do we want to be a big town? The only thing that I want people to take a look at, I don't have an opinion either way, but look at Homer Glen, what they were. They wanted to be the small town, they wanted to keep themselves small, and their taxation just drove everyone out to the point that they had to start becoming big in order to avoid the increased taxation. So when we look at Mantino and we say our taxes are high, there's really only one way of getting our taxes down, and that is to get some of those big box stores that can help offset it. So for the thousands of people who love the small town feel, and I happen to be one of them, I want to be a small town person. We've got to balance it out of how much are we willing to pay on our taxes to
Be
remain
a small town, correct. No, I know, that's the thing, because like we've been bringing up, maybe this year or possibly next year, could probably be the last year we're doing the tax rebate. Because we don't have new money flowing in from businesses or the tax base. So that's why that's why I'm trying to, like, again, wake the town up a little bit here to a point of, it's about to hit us where we're gonna have to pay, I mean, our
That's why we
portion.
need to help, you know, like that gentleman there. We
Correct.
gotta figure out something, they're gonna keep these businesses flowing into our town.
Correct.
And, you know,
But
So we
bringing
can't-
like 20 of those in, like, if we
Well,
wanna like fund it, yeah.
Unfortunately, a business like that is not gonna support Mantino. It's just not. They don't bring in enough tax revenue.
Correct. You need the big business, but small businesses helps, but big business is obviously gonna
Yeah,
be
we
like the
want,
bigger
we want
things.
good, viable, small businesses.
Correct.
Every community does, but what Joel's trying to say and what I'm saying is those type of businesses are not gonna support the tax rebate, the
Correct.
garbage pickup. All, you know, the nice things that we wanna provide as an amenity for people that wanna come to Mantino. A gaming place, or a bar, or, you know, a little restaurant's not gonna provide the tax dollars to do that.
Yeah.
You're on the right track, CJ, with wanting to try and get some of these
Right.
national chain businesses here, but they don't come first.
Yeah.
The
you gotta-
the rooftops
correct.
come first and then they come.
But this is something we gotta start thinking
But
of
like
then.
we're saying, and like Annette is saying, you know, there's people that wanna keep it a small town.
Correct.
You can't have both.
Yes, you
So
don't
if we're gonna
want,
be a small town, we gotta be willing to pay these high property taxes that we're paying.
correct,
Because we don't have the big businesses to support it.
correct. Yeah, no, I know.
I mean, I was driven out of Lockport and Homer Glen too. That's one of the reasons I moved to Mantino 23 years ago, because our taxes in Lockport just kept going like this to the point where it was not sustainable. Well, now 23 years later, I'm back at that same spot, right? We all are. But we can't have both. We can't have low taxes and no growth.
Correct, no, absolutely not, yeah.
But we
Well,
don't
we-
want crazy growth either, that's
No, again, like I said, I don't think anyone would want us to double tomorrow. We just don't have the infrastructure, we wouldn't be able to support it. It would take us a while to kinda catch up.
well, too, like the factory over there and stuff, they don't pay enough wages for the people to build the houses here, to build in Mantino. I mean, a lot of that over there, they're renters. Right?
Which we hope turns into more permanent, I mean,
I don't know that I.
they
that
pay
I
more than
agree
the
with
school, I can tell you that much, and
But-
I live here, but,
But I think that honestly, like, part of the welcoming, if you will, of the factory into town was an effort to try to promote growth. Now, hindsight's always 20/20. Is it promoting growth, or is the division amongst our town and the fighting and the fear factor preventing it? I don't know, and I'm not saying that to point fingers one way or the other, because I'm not pointing a finger at someone, because there's gonna be 4 pointing back at me, right?
Right.
So, I think, to the point that Chris made, we've got to, if we want growth, we've gotta come together, we gotta have discussions, we gotta say, this is what we want. Do we want the controlled growth? Do we not want the controlled growth? Do we wanna stay a small town? And if so, everyone needs to know that taxes ultimately will end up going up.
And by the way, renters pay taxes. They pay it through their rents because, you know, some of those lots that sat there empty for 30 or 40 years over on the east side that are now being built up with really nice looking townhouses, you know, they're getting $2,000 a month in rent for those things. So they're paying taxes. They're just paying it through their rents.
Well, and the people at the factory that I know of, there are some that are making rent scale income, but it's better rent scale income there than anywhere else in the county. But the administrative people, they've moved up north because they didn't feel that the family was welcomed here. That, we gotta have that change where all people feel welcomed, even if they have a difference of opinion or if they work someplace that we may not like. I mean, there was an employee from Goshen here at our last board meeting, and he got lambasted on social media just because he was here. He didn't say anything. Then you know, we can't have that.
correct, either way. And we've had that discussion with the public too, of both kind of ways of trying to, like, again, promote it that way so that we don't, because again, yes, I don't wanna be seen as, nope, we're not gonna move here, but we'll move to Bradley, or we'll move to Bourbonnais, we'll move to Kankakee, but we're not gonna move here, cause they seem to be in cahoots or there's out of sorts. Like, that's the vibe we have to change if we wanna even get anywhere, just not even if we wanna get big, just sustainable, I think is something that we need to be looking at, because again, we are drying up, and I think, I hate to say it, but I think Peatone might be a good example of we're seeing kind of what might happen here. I heard that Peatone, things are starting to kind of come down, especially with their school system, and that's gonna be a big shock for a lot of people. So it's almost like I wanna just, let's be as proactive as possible as we can, without, again, I get the small growth and I get that, but there has to be some growth too. You can't just be stagnant, unless, again, we're willing to pay super high taxes.
I'd like to see the builders build new homes and stuff like that. You know, I think everybody
Peggy, I
needs
will
to.
say, and we all do, it is unfortunate, but Chris, what he said is 100% true. Because I've had a conversation with a large developer that develops commercial properties throughout Chicagoland, Indiana, Missouri. And my conversation with them was point blank. They had looked at coming to Manteno, but realized that the board was in such disarray that they decided to back out because they felt it would be an uphill battle. So what Chris is saying is true. It's not a fabricated lie. It's reality, and it's unfortunate, but if I was that developer looking to come here and I watched one of our board
Well, you
meetings.
just said in disarray, but he just said because of the police reports.
No, I said it's the general narrative that's put out there by the public, and again, they're entitled to their 3 minutes and talk. It's just not conducive to getting people to come to town. That's just the reality.
People are entitled, you know,
That's what I
to say
said.
what they want.
100%. It just doesn't help in terms of growth. That's all I'm saying.
Anything else to see in these fourth quarter recap numbers?
Nope, so yeah, the residential recap, those are the ones that are still under construction, do not have occupancy permits yet. We've issued now 3 temporary occupancies on the apartment building over on Division. So those are filling up, and I will say that, yeah, he's able to rent those out as fast as he can get them done, again, at $2,000 a month, so there's clearly a need for that. And in part, I'm sure, because it's hard to afford a $500,000 starter home, you know, that, and especially at 5% interest. That's just where we're at right now. So new construction for the quarter, we had 1 additional single-family home out in Rock Creek that got started. 96 total permits, inspections by everybody. Again, Jim Hanley helps out, Brian Prince helps out when me and Jim aren't available, so we appreciate the Public Works being able to do that. And 21 sidewalk inspections. That kind of tells you in terms of how many houses have sold in the quarter. And then contractor registrations obviously are slower this time of year at 46. That next sheet gives you the annual permit recap year by year from 2022 up through this year. So you can see permits are down a little bit. The 2023 at 900 was because of the hailstorm. Those are, you can see the roof permits were up to 450, so. Go over that, and then the larger sheets are obviously the ones that you've seen in the past, so I'll let you go through those, but that gives us the revenues and the increase in values based on those permits that are, you know, anytime somebody fills out a building permit application, they have to put the value of that improvement on the permit, so that's where we get those numbers from. And then the inspections kind of break down the building, subcontractors, the plumbing and electrical that we do.
So as I'm sitting here thinking about our last conversation, so it's good that we're all thinking on the same lines as far as we need to do something, right? We can't just sit here and, you know, stay stagnant. Years ago, I remember when I was first on the board and Bernie Thompson was the village administrator, we would look at coming up with a list as a board of some things that we'd like to do. Maybe one of those things would get done once a year. Remember that, Joel? We'd come up with a list of ideas. We'd brainstorm and come up with ideas as a group. Maybe we need to go back to that model, and maybe as a group, we need to come up with 3 or 4 ideas per board member of things we'd like to see possibly happen. realizing that there's a good chance they're not gonna happen, but at least it's a path forward to start generating some ideas, so that maybe out of the 6 board members, we come up with one idea that we can all agree upon and say, yeah, let's try to pursue that path, right? At least it's a start in the right direction. So maybe, I don't know who, you know, if CJ, if we're talking about building and you're planning and zoning, we wanna figure out a way to come up with some new developments, maybe you had that effort, and say, hey, Mike, CJ, Peggy, Todd, Joel, Annette, come to the next meeting with 3 ideas and let's discuss it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I think that's the only
yeah.
way we're gonna at least get this horse further down the path.
Correct. Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's
And
good.
that's how we came up with the, you know, let's let them pay for the permits at the end rather than the beginning, so that, you know, they're not $4,000 or $5,000 right out of the gate that they've got to pay interest on, so.
That was a brainstorming.
Yeah, and the enterprise zone, same thing. We've always had it for commercial, but knowing that housing was dragging, you know, they came up with the idea of, well, maybe we can convert some of the commercial into residential enterprise zones to help the builders, you know, reduce
And
their
that's
permit
what we
fees.
brainstormed on
CJ,
Route 50.
just
Joel's
before-
brought up some ideas on Route 50. That's how we rezone Route 50 so that you can either have a commercial or residential or a combination of both.
Right.
That just came out of a simple discussion at a committee meeting.
Instead of having 2 different committee meetings, can we just take my item that I wanted to talk about, and put it on yours, just so we talk about it real quick before you leave?
Sure, yeah. So that's the express property purchase discussion?
So it kind of goes hand in hand with exactly what we're talking about right now. Like, what do we want to do? How do we want to make our town better? And that's where this brought up. My opinion, I think that our downtown is beautiful. Our Route 50 corridor doesn't necessarily match and doesn't tie in. A lot of people, traffic-wise, are driving right down Route 50. I think we need to focus on redeveloping Route 50. And one of the ideas I had brought up to you guys to take a look at, and I've sang this song for a few years now. Properties on Route 50, I feel like Express Contracting, everyone get a chance to take a look at it when they went past. Obviously, it's been on the market for 182 days, I believe. I think maybe we should consider, and I know we don't want to spend money, and we've got money sitting in the bank, and it's kind of a tough spot, but the only way that we're going to be able to redevelop that is if we put some money forth and get it started. Do we want to start having Chris go and write to some of the places there and say, if you're interested in selling your property, we may be interested in purchasing it at appraised value. We're not getting into a bidding war, but to help redevelop it and do like what we did with O'Reilly's and stuff like that. That's a way of helping change, and if we could tie downtown and Route 50 where the traffic going through are all of a sudden gonna stop and come in, it's gonna make our downtown more vibrant, might get more restaurants, might get a burgers and beer or something to wanna come here. It's just an idea I have, and I wanted you guys to look at it. I know we've talked about slowing our spending down, and this is spending, but we're really just changing liquid cash to real estate.
So you gotta spend money to make money, like in a way, like a
Right.
town has to do that to keep it vibrant. So I'm not necessarily against it. I think that is a good idea, pathway forward, because again, you make that look nicer, look fuller, and spots, I mean, I'm not saying it's not all nice, cause there's some nice businesses already there, but making it look fuller, yeah, that will then maybe turn downtown or turn into a thing.
Well, you mentioned that, and I know that we're getting bids or that for the old Public Works buildings. Like, if we were to sell those old Public Works buildings, could we roll those funds into buying like a piece of property like this?
That's kind of why I brought it up when I did, because we were talking about those old public works buildings, which
Have a good day, sorry.
See you.
So, to be clear, your property purchase discussion, what, address area, or are you just in general?
I'm looking at the whole the whole Route 50 corridor in general. But the one that came up is the express contracting. Yes. And I wanted that to be as an example, like, hey, look at that building. Do we think that we could promote that to be something different. And
Have we ever reached out to, I mean, have you talked to Copeland to see if he's got anybody interested in that building, or Electricom? Has anybody?
Electricom just sold back in September, October.
Okay, so that building
That
is
just
gonna,
got purchased.
somebody's coming into that.
Yeah, I don't know if they just bought it as an investment. They haven't put up any signs for rent, or, so I don't know if they're just using it for a storage building or what. It's a guy out of
You
Frankfurt.
know, this is probably a crazy thing that I have thought about. We have an awful lot of parks, and there's a lot of parks that aren't used. You know, that over there, what's that, Reuter Park? And that there's not that many people. The land there, I mean, I don't know, can we do anything with something that, and so, I guess my point on this is, so we don't have so much maintenance and stuff, is there, I mean, that's just an idea thrown out.
Could we take the park and develop it into a subdivision?
I don't know,
that's a floodplain.
okay, or anything, I don't know, that's just, I'm asking you guys.
I mean, it's a viable question. I think if I was a resident living in that neighborhood, I'd probably say, well, why are you taking my park and tearing it apart, you know? That-
No, it's just a
You're gonna get
question,
that reaction, but
just a question.
something to think about.
Like over there at Reuter, is that because it's so low? Is that why it's flooding?
It's adjacent to Rock Creek.
Okay.
Chris, the property Joel's talking about, did I drive by there and see a permit in the window?
Shouldn't be, no.
Thought I did.
I see the for sale sign is down, so I don't know if they've taken it off the market now or what, but, yeah.
Well, I mean, those are the type of things I think we need to look at. I've always thought that kind of one of our kind of stumbling blocks here in Manteno, when you look at other communities like a Frankfurt or a Naperville or a downtown LaGrange, is that those towns have a main street and offshoots of commercial businesses as well. We're pretty limited to just Main Street. We do have a couple businesses on the side streets, but for the most part, we've always kind of been just Main Street. In order to do that expansion that Joel's talking about, you do need to have those offshoots to be able to develop. And unfortunately, when you come into Manteno on Route 50, the first property that you see to the north isn't in that great a shape, and the first property you see to the south isn't in that great a shape. It's like, welcome to Manteno, right?
Yep.
The very first property
you
coming
feel
into
about
the
this?
south, well, it's the clinic, I guess,
How do you feel about
technically, but then you got a
redeveloping
gravel
Route
parking
50?
lot.
I think it's always been something we've talked about. When I was on the board in 2013, we talked about
Well,
that.
remember when you were on the board, one of my ideas were, I wanted to have an opening where you could see, like, the arches that we have on Main Street weren't really my idea of Main Street. I wanted it over a view looking from Route 50 in, where people could see it lit up. But do you have any opposition to us having Chris maybe solicit, just put out there, just get a feel? I don't even know, I mean, it may not even be an economical thing for us to consider, but buildings like this one, when they come available, if that's something that we want to do as a board, we're gonna have to try to start snagging them up as they come.
What's the listing price on that?
They've got it listed at 209, but we can't, I mean, whatever it appraises for, that's what we're limited.
We're talking about how our funds are lower than they've been in many years, but yet, on the other hand, we're talking about spending money. So there's a balance there.
And that's what I'm saying, like, yes, the balance, and our funds are low, but we're not really spending, because we're gonna potentially redevelop it and sell it, right? It's an asset, we're just purchasing an asset. Like the public works buildings that we got the appraisals on, we could sell, like, this one building might be an exchange of the property on Oak Street, that was our public works buildings, in exchange for something on Route 50 that would help us beautify it.
Perhaps.
I mean, Frankfurt, to me, is a beautiful downtown area with a small town feel. Every time I drive through it, it's a beautiful downtown area, you got the small town feel. I know for a fact that they've done exactly what Joel's talking about. They've bought distressed properties accumulated them to a certain point, and then developed them. And that's how they keep that downtown area looking nice and expanding. They just did it
It's what
6
Tinley-
months ago.
It's what Tinley Park did as well.
Finley Park on Oak Park Avenue.
The city of
What's their
Kankakee, I think, also
population
is attempting to do
in
that.
Frankfurt, do you know?
When they started doing it, or now?
No.
Oh, I have no idea.
18,000. Frankfurt's 18,000.
So they're double the size of a Mantino.
But when they started, they were
20
probably
years ago,
6,000.
they were probably not much bigger than what we are right now.
I don't know, it's just, this is an idea, and if, we gotta give Chris some direction if we want to explore it, but I feel like, and again, I'm not saying that we have to commit to it, but see if they're, A, if it's for sale, B, you know, if it's something that we're gonna wanna do, then get an appraisal and see about, you know, is it something we'd wanna purchase? But I don't wanna spend money telling Chris to get an appraisal on it if we're gonna have a division amongst the board. Because this has gotta be somewhat more of a long-term comprehensive type plan of, do we agree that that redevelopment will benefit our community in the long run?
Well, let's get with Annette and Mike and see what everybody's feeling is on it, and that, Mayor, you know, what you think as
We've
well.
got two major things going on right now. The audit that we're waiting for that might be ready in February, and then what's gonna happen with Goshen and whether they're gonna come into compliance with everything that they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So I think you're rushing this. I think we need to get through those two major things first.
Okay.
I don't think what Joel is asking to do,
Discussions are good. I'm all in
Is-
favor of discussion.
but I don't think what Joel's asking to do is going to cost us any money initially. All it is Chris potentially sending out a couple of letters to property owners to say, hey, if and when you're looking to sell, the village may be interested.
Yeah, we need to know what the bottom line is, so let's get through that audit and see what's happened.
Okay,
I got one item just to mention real quick. Chris emailed out the turf proposal for removing and then replacing the turf over in the south area in the square where the building's gonna go. Just wanted to make sure everybody took a look at that. I think we're gonna have it on the board agenda for next week. It's $22,484. Getting a second price for the change order stuff in that center location, the removal, the regrading for the merry-go-round, where that sidewalk we're gonna remove, there'll be more turf added there. Where the tree was, to regrade that, and then to put fall zone protection in around that zip line, and we'll take up that poured rubber mulch. So I'll get another price for that.
okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm running your meeting.
We're actually finishing up CJ's.